Hey, I'm Alexander Velev, founder of GTM Revenue. Follow me on LinkedIn. You can see my master classes on YouTube. And today, important topic, and that is market intelligence and data for B2B companies. So if you're a B2B company and you want to know how to get up to 3 times better go-to-market performance, how to get data that your competitors don't have access to, and how to increase your team's efficiency by giving them the right data and research at the right time, this is the video for you. So this will all be based on our experience and knowledge that we bring from having generated over 53 million in sales pipeline for our clients, being trusted by over 75 different clients, close to 100 at this point, and having sent over 7 million outreach messages. We also have partnerships or certifications with Apollo, NA10 and Smartlead, also a couple of others. And by watching this video, you will see real examples of how the top B2B companies are increasing their go-to-market performance by getting better data. And I'll actually show you what better data means. Also, how our clients increase their team's efficiency by 40% on average, and how to get a competitive advantage with unique market insights that your competitors often overlook. Most companies follow very similar processes or similar playbooks, and that's why they don't get any results. You've probably heard an agency before, or you do some go-to-market activities yourself, and you know how difficult it is to get results. And I'm sure you also receive a bunch of messages on LinkedIn, on your email. You know it's difficult, right? And the main reason, I'll share this with you, the main reason people fail is because they don't have deep insights on the prospects that they talk to, right? So the only way to break free of all of the noise in the market is to have deep insights on the people you talk to. And this way you can be extremely relevant with your messaging. Now I'm going to get into some examples of this. So this is extremely important for you. And deep insights really means different things for different companies. In practice, it's very different. And that's one of the good parts of working with a company like us, is that we can figure out what those deep insights are and align them with all of your company nuances and all of your company context. So that's the main idea. You need deep insights. So let's get into some examples. First, here's an entire AI agent ecosystem that we built for one of our clients, a marketing agency for B2C SaaS companies. So initially, imagine this. They would get leads from ads and lead magnets, and then they would get assigned to sales reps. But the sales reps only had very basic information on every company. So whenever you sign up to a lead magnet, you just give your email, your company name, for example. But then the salespeople had to dial those leads or email them, and each conversation was a battle, because the team was going in blind into each conversation, and as a result they didn't know what to say. They weren't relevant, they didn't have the deep insights, so the conversion rates were low and the customer acquisition cost was too high for them to be profitable. And also many of the conversations were not with the decision maker, because a company might sign up to a lead magnet, but it might not be the right person that you're talking to. So then the salespeople had to call these people that were not the right person to talk to, and they had to basically ask them who they should reach out to, and that's very inefficient. You don't want to do it like that. So this was for the inbound. Now for the outbound, again, they approached it in a very traditional and simple way that doesn't really work. They didn't have any insights, so they would just send the same repetitive, irrelevant messaging to all of their prospects. And as a result of all of this, many of their inbound and outbound efforts were so inefficient that they were literally losing lots of money because of this. Now, the solution, first, we analyzed all of their processes, right? So we were able to spot all of these issues here. in lots of detail. And then we also conducted some interviews with their top salespeople. So we know the common challenges that come up, the different bottlenecks, and then also some of their top clients, because we tried to understand why did their top clients convert at the time that they converted? What was going on in their company? Can we look for similar companies with some data insights? Right. And then we built a set of different systems that all work together to solve all of the major bottlenecks. And the goal, because I mentioned data a lot of times during this video, but the main goal is not to get better data, because data is just the first step. Right. So the data points bring us to a story about the company, which gives us insights into this company, which we can use in our messaging to make it powerful. And that brings us prospects that can trust us and want to buy from us. This is the natural progression of how you should be thinking of it. Right, so let's be practical. What do data points mean? Well, in this case, we created an insanely valuable lead magnet. So our client already had some lead magnets before, but we outperformed them by 10x at least. So a prospect would basically be able to put in their URL, and then we had a AI agent which would do an audit of their social media marketing and also search engine optimization. So as soon as you enter your URL, you get a full AI report of all of this. And not only did we use this as a lead magnet, but also when a new lead would come from an ad, for example, or they would sign up on the website, then we would automatically run this, and the sales rep would receive this audit, this report. So whenever they would call up the lead, they can directly see all of the possible issues they might have with their search engine optimization, for example. Then we would determine the prospect's exact issues even further without needing to get on a call. So we would check things like the team size. Do they have active Meta ads, active YouTube ads, Google ads? What's the approximate ad spend? Are they hiring for any marketing roles? And do they have funding? Right, and also a couple more. But combining this data with this data now gives us a complete story of the company, which we can use to derive some insights about what issues they might be having and how specifically we might be able to help them, which is the relevant messaging. So you see how all of this works together. It starts to make sense, right? Then we did some outreach for them. So whenever a new inbound lead would come, they would automatically get an AI generated sequence, which is relevant to them specifically. Then LinkedIn connection requests, 800 a month, LinkedIn emails, 800 a month per account, and cold email to qualified companies, 500 a day or 15,000 a month. Then we had lead scoring and prioritizing the right leads. So inside of their CRM, we would score all leads based on the data that we would get from these steps. And then salespeople would get notified within 3 minutes when there is a high priority lead, along with all of the data and the research about each client. So whenever they call them now, they have so much data to work with, and they don't need to ask some stupid question every time, because they genuinely, before, they didn't know anything about the people that they would call, or they would need to research for half an hour before they call a person, So either way, if they didn't have this, it's an awful process, right? And in the last 90 days, this is just outbound. We're not counting the inbound results, but we got them 237 meetings just from outbound. Here is the case of a company selling energy cost optimization solutions for oil and gas pipeline companies. So this one is very interesting because there is so little companies in the world that you can actually sell this to, because these are very big, many of them multi-billion-dollar public companies, oil and gas companies. So we knew that traditional outreach wouldn't do the work, and we had the idea to get every single company in their total addressable market into a list, and then the idea is to analyze on the following data points that are here. We also have some additional ones each week, so we can talk to the right person at the right time about something that's relevant to them. So with all of these data points here, really the goal was to connect something that's currently going on in the company or something that they say is true about their company, like a new initiative, and then we link that to a person who's a decision maker and is most likely responsible for this initiative, and then we can say something that's relevant to them because we understand their situation. So we were looking at companies building a new pipeline, companies that are affected by a recent increase in energy costs, negative press if they had a spill or missed emissions target, if the share price changed, if they say that they embrace new technology or innovation, whether it's in hiring, job description, or in their social media posts, if they have ambitions for growth, data based on annual report analysis or earning reports or Q1 earnings report, anything like that. Then if they have sustainability initiatives, again, we can see this from hiring data or social media posts or something that they have on their website, right? So we also had some additional ones, but this is how it would look. So for example, you have that they're building a new pipeline in Texas, that they hired a new CTO that's focused on sustainability. The Q4 earnings call mentions cost optimization, and that there also some of their team members are attending an energy innovation summit. Right, so you can see this, then you can click into key contacts and you can see the most relevant people in the company and you can reach out to them through here. Okay, the next one is about how to combine LinkedIn content with AI multi-channel outreach and how we are able to book over 35 meetings per month with very qualified people. These are people that have already consumed a lot of your content. They're most likely in the market, they know you already, they trust you, so this works really well. This specific example is for one of our clients, which is a B2B IT services company, but this also works for many of our clients. We've implemented this for many companies. People argue if you should do LinkedIn content or some other type of content, or if you should do outreach. And here's how you can actually combine both of them and get 3 to 5x better results than normal outreach. And it works especially well if your audience or your ICP is on LinkedIn. So first we gathered all people that like, share, comment, or view your profile. And then for people that don't have a big following, you can scrape the engagement of competitors on LinkedIn. So this is IT services. If there's another person who has 30,000, 50,000 followers and they post something and they get 300 people commenting, liking, you can scrape that list and you can do it every day, and then you can reach out to those people. Then before we reach out, we want to make sure that they fit the ICP criteria. So it needs to be the right, these are just a few, there's a lot more, but needs to be the right industry, job title. We need to check with AI if the company has a specific company offering that our client can help out with. In this case, it was if they're hiring for new remote roles. If these are not true, we don't reach out to them. Then we engage over email and LinkedIn, and because this is really as relevant as it gets, we were crushing it, getting up to 23% reply rate, as you can see. The sales cycle was also way shorter because many of these people already know you, they're in the market, and it went from months to often weeks, and we were booking over 35 meetings per month with this playbook specifically. These are the results over the last 60 days. And here's what we personally do at GTM Revenue, at my company. We offer a broad range of solutions, and every client engagement is different. So pitching over a message is very difficult for us because everything is so different, as you can see. And if you're just targeting companies in a certain industry within a certain headcount, and then you're reaching out to the head of sales, for example, you can't be relevant that way, because within that industry and that headcount, every company is so different. So you cannot be relevant. And that's why we've built a way to understand company context at scale, so we can be relevant to each person we contact. Understanding company context. So first thing we do is we disqualify companies we don't want to work with. So we have an AI agent that screens thousands of companies, if we have a list of thousands of companies, and we check if they truly are a B2B company, if they're selling in English, and if they are in an industry that we can help. Because on LinkedIn, or when you get data, sometimes you would get, let's say it's a real estate company, but it might be a real estate software, it might not even be in real estate, it could be many different things, right? So we make sure it's actually a type of company we want to work with. Second, depending on their sales team structure, so how many salespeople do they have? Do they have account executives? Do they have a sales director, right? Then their product offering. So what type of product do they sell? Who do they sell it to, right? How does that sales process usually go? All of these insights we get from all of the available information about that company on the internet and using some AI. And also their total addressable market. And with all of this information, it's quite complicated the way we've done it, but we can pitch different solutions to people that meet different criteria. So for example, I wouldn't pitch an outbound at scale solution to a company with a small market. Why would you need outbound at scale, right? Instead, you need data. What do you need? You need good data. When you should talk to these people, what should you say, how to be relevant? It's more important than ever when you have a small market, right? A small market size. Just like with the example of the energy cost optimization, right? When I initially reached out to them, which our AI did that, but we didn't pitch, hey, you can do outbound at scale. We pitched, hey, here's how you can find very specific data about your market that you might be interested in, right? This is the way that we think about it. So we've built a system of AI agents that analyze each company and all available public information about them online. And we've trained these agents on hundreds of examples and documents about our company, so we can generate at scale a highly accurate prediction of how we might be able to help each company. So our pitch for every company looks very different, but it's extremely accurate. So we get all of this data, we can paint a story about each company. So the story is, this company is hiring for new account executives and new salespeople. They also recently got funding. This is how big their total addressable market is. This is the type of product that they sell to. This is probably the two main decision makers that you want to talk to. And then based on that information, I can get some insights. So I know they're in a certain market where the TAM is very big, the total addressable market is very big. Then, based on my experience, I have some insights that I can transition into powerful messaging. And then, if I do that right, I get prospects that trust me and want to buy from me. So here's some real answers that I got to my personal outreach. So here, I generally do not respond to cold outreach, but in this case, you did pick one of the most important attributes of the ICP. This one. You can read the whole thing. Thank you for reaching out with these targeted suggestions for outbound tactics. Your understanding of our market is impressive. Right. So what does this mean actually? When I reached out to these companies, I had no idea who they are. No idea. But here they're saying that I understand their market that I get the most important attributes of their ICP, that my understanding is impressive, but at the same time I know nothing about these companies until I actually get on a call with them and I go on. But this is how good our AI agents perform. I have about 100 plus of these screenshots. Like I get this almost every day, that people respond like this. So this works if I do it first. So this works if I'm telling you need to do it. So this works if I'm telling you need to do it, and you can see that it's working really well for us. So that I'm telling you that you need to do it, and I'm actually getting results doing it. My company is getting great results. This works, and this is exactly what you need to be doing. So as you can see, it's obvious that this works. I'm not just talking, hey, maybe you should do this. No, this is what my company does, and we get some amazing results. And this is exactly, if you're watching this video, this is exactly what you need to do. Now, it's quite complicated to get all of this right, and that's why you should just work with a partner like us. We should set it up for you, and you should not worry about it. You should not just hire some lead gen agency that's just gonna send some emails. As you can see, we don't send just some emails out there. It's a very well thought out thing. Honestly, if you're watching this, you should just work with us, and you should let us set this up for you, and you're gonna get amazing results. Because there's very few companies that actually understand how to do this the right way. And what's so different about working with GTM revenue? Well, there's many things, so I'll just list a couple of them. But first, when we talk about data specifically, is that you get 30 to 50% more market coverage. So this could really depend on the company, but we have different private databases. So if you get a list that almost nobody is reaching out to, you can get up to 3 times the reply rate, as I'll show you an example of that. And then you can also get more accurate data through multiple providers, which also means higher market coverage. So if you want to go after SaaS companies in the US, but you get 5 or 6 different data sources, then you would get more accurate data, and you would also get higher market coverage, because most companies just use one source. We use a couple. Then you get AI agentic research. So this will be extremely important to be tailored to your context and nuances of your company. Like with the last example that I gave you with GTM revenue, we would never be able to get a good output out of our AI agents if we didn't tailor them and train them over and over again to make them just give us the best possible output, right? So when we implement any sort of an AI solution, there's a lot that goes into making sure that it actually works. So many companies will sell you AI agent solutions, but those are not really going to be tailored specifically to your company, right? Then everything will be integrated with your team processes and CRM. So if we need, we're going to conduct interviews with your sales team. We're going to see your setup, your CRM, and all the possible ways we can bring value to your company. This is what we do with our clients. And then on average, 40% higher rep efficiency across our clients. And here I wanted to show you another example. This is a B2B SaaS client. You can see the full case study on our website. But we had a very similar campaign. This is their campaign before. 1.5% reply rate, 1 positive reply. Then once we changed the targeting, so we got some custom data, we got data insight, so we knew who we were actually talking to, and the list was better, which allowed us to create new messaging. So the messaging isn't just like a trick, oh, I'm really good at messaging, or typing the best sentence. Like, it actually needs to be relevant, So better targeting allows better messaging. So we had almost a 4.7% reply rate, which is about 3 times higher. And we got 12 positive replies for a similar size campaign. So we went from 1 positive reply to 12. And when it comes to outreach, email infrastructure with us, you get high reputation IPs, which are based in US data centers. So all email accounts are from these IPs specifically, and data across hundreds of thousands of emails that we've sent from these IPs shows 50% to 200% increase in deliverability compared to a normal setup that maybe you buy your inboxes from another place. Usually we get way higher deliverability and response rates. And this is especially if you're targeting enterprise companies, this setup that we have. And then LinkedIn, you can send with us 800 emails per month per account. Usually the limit is 50. With us, you get 16 times the normal limit. If you have watched so far, I have a special offer for you. So now you know that you need deep insights, you know that you can get 3 times or even more better go-to-market performance. And a solution like this might cost you $10,000-$15,000, even more, depending on exactly what it is. But I believe in giving the right people that I really want to work with a way to test out our services and get some results without big upfront risk. So if you click the link below and you book a call with me, I will see if we can genuinely help you. We always want to be only working with people that I genuinely believe and I'm certain we're going to get you results. If I'm certain we can get you results, then I can offer you either some free samples of work that you can test out and get some results, or I can offer you something very cheap so you don't have lots of risk and you can get some results, and then you want to work with us long term, right? So click the link below and you answer some questions, and then you can talk to me, and if I genuinely think we can help, then I can honestly make you a really good offer. So click the link and let's talk soon.